Karl KAISER, welcome to World Policy Conference Television. You are a very distinguished professor of political science at the Kennedy School at Harvard, and you're both German and American, and you've been at the German Council of Foreign Relations in the past. What has particularly impressed you about this year's conference?
What impressed me most were the questions that were neglected and were very well discussed here. Items we have to deepen, I think, in the future. The role of religion in conflict, tremendously important question for the future, because religion, alas, is still a major driver of bloody conflict. I think this is a beginning. I hope the conference will continue to pursue this. An amazingly interesting and revealing session we had on health and risks, and in particular on the neglected impact of aging, which our societies have not yet faced. It has profound consequences for institutions, laws, the whole question of how we deal with a growing number of older people who are wasted in many cases. It has implications for the pension systems, which are all in danger in all our countries. We have to really rethink all of that. So there were a number of these issues which were really very interesting and revealing.
Now you have two hats, a European hat and an American hat.
Yeah.
When you look at Europe now and the change in the balance between France and Germany in terms of economic weight, and in fact, in a way, in terms of political weight too, what does that presage for the future?
It is true that the economic weight has shifted more to Germany, which is now undoubtedly the leading economic power of Europe. But we must not forget that the strategic culture of Germany is very different from the French culture and also the political tradition. There is still much to be said for combining the two countries in leading or in giving initiatives for the European Union. Because when it comes to foreign policy and to European security policy, I think France still is the country that can do more and is less impaired by the kinds of things that constrain Germany, namely Germany's past. From all we gather, the new grand coalition that is right now coming to power in Berlin will do exactly what the predecessors did, namely to give top priority to the Franco-German relationship.
So the motor will continue.
The motor will continue. There is awareness in the political class in both countries.
Let me then just put your American hat on now. I mean, there is the feeling, I think, around the world that America now is lowering its profile, if you like, in the world. That might not be the right idiom, but I think you know what I mean. There's a less involved foreign policy, and there is, of course, a pivot towards Asia. What does all this mean about American foreign policy?
The Europeans have not yet adequately taken into account the enormous shift that is occurring in America. And it is expressed in two things. One, an increasing reluctance to be involved in solving the crises of the world. As we had learned in the Libya crisis, America is not automatically available to be in the forefront. It will help the allies, but the allies must do more, which means for Europe can no longer assume America is always available. It has to do more, it has to be better organized. And the rebalancing toward Asia Pacific, sort of reinforces that trend, because it means a lowering of profile in Europe. Troops shift. The 300,000 soldiers that once were in Europe, that dwindles down to 40. Although there are still the crises around Europe and near Europe, and Europe still remains important, but the long-term trend is clearly toward Asia, to deal with the problems of Asia. And that means for the Europeans, it's a wake-up call. They really have to better organize their security and defense policy.
Well, that's a very interesting idiom on which to end. Karl KAISER, thank you so much for being here.